So recently I came across this new game called Marvel Rivals, and for the first time in a while, I genuinely felt like I had come across a game that could potentially be a future contender for Game of the Year. And obviously the game is still in the early stages of development, and so they kind of released a alpha playtest, right? Giving gamers the opportunity to test out the game. And this led to the discovery of a significant issue that ultimately upset a lot of people. So, Marvel Rivals is a superhero team-based PvP shooter, and a lot of people have been calling it Marvel's response to Overwatch because it's very similar to Overwatch, which is a game that did actually win Game of the Year. And I can't stress this enough. So, what's so special about Marvel Rivals is that the game is fundamentally rooted in the Marvel universe, and the heroes in this game are based on some of the most popular and iconic characters such as Iron Man or the Hulk or Spider-Man, for example. There's such a massive fan base for the Marvel comics and the Marvel cinematic universe that can be drawn from to create a new community within this game that could potentially continue on indefinitely. They already have a built-in audience to draw from. And that is something that a lot of new games don't have. They have to kind of build that from scratch using original and unique concepts that people may or may not like. But this, 100% for sure that the people that are going to be playing this game, they're going to be playing heroes in this game that they are familiar with, that they love and have known for such a long time. And that in itself is a unique advantage that a lot of game developers do not have. But I can already see a significant issue arising, and it's not because I have any particular insight into this. Every true gamer knows that the best games and the most popular games, they're often eventually destroyed by their own developers. And sometimes this happens because of ignorance, sometimes this is because of financial reasons. But the bottom line is, right, it's like in the service industry, the customer is always right. And if you can't keep the customers happy, or in this situation, if you can't keep the players happy, then they won't play. And ultimately, as a developer, all of your efforts will be for nothing. You know what? If you've worked as an employee, or maybe you've been an employer, you'll know firsthand the customer isn't actually always right. However, gamers are not the average customer. And as a game developer, it's your responsibility to make them feel heard, to make them feel valued, to make their opinions validated, because that is how you're going to ensure that you've created a quality product, a game that everybody is happy to play, that you're going to be able to make money off of. Because realistically, you're both looking at the same damn thing, but you're always going to have differing perspectives. And so you need to merge those perspectives together to create a conclusive product that's going to actually work. And it creates this struggle between gamers and game developers that I feel like is perfectly exemplified with this whole Marvel rival situation. And I feel like this is just the beginning of it, but it's such a unique, fascinating situation that we have here that I really want to explore on both sides with you guys. All right, so let's talk about how the beef started. So Marvel Rivals announced that they were going to be holding an alpha test on the 10th of May, essentially giving people the opportunity to playtest the game, to check out the graphics and the characters and the game modes, and to really get a feel for how the game is going. So as you can imagine, a lot of content creators, YouTubers, Twitch streamers and whatnot signed up to essentially get access to this alpha test to be able to play the game. And one of those creators was a live streamer on Twitch called Seagull. And basically, during the process of him being granted access to this alpha test, he came across the terms and conditions in some form of agreement or contract relating to his ability to be able to playtest the game. And it stipulated certain conditions that he wasn't happy with. So I'm going to go ahead and show you a video of this reaction from him at the time.
Creators need to read what the they are signing, and they're not. Literally has a clause, we've confirmed now with 5 people, where it says engaging in malicious comparisons with competitors or belittling the gameplay or providing subjective negative reviews of the game. People have signed off what are basically sponsored or hashtag ad streams, and people are just signing this without reading it just to get a game key. So I'm not playing this game anymore. Don't expect me to play this game anymore. It's ridiculous, and I hope some much more popular people than me blow this up, because that is very not okay. I've just extremely not okay.
So basically, he has prior to playing the game, or during playing the game, I'm not sure what point this was, but basically he's read the terms of the contract and he's not happy with it. He thinks it's not okay. He thinks that a lot of other people should not be happy with this or okay at all. He thinks that people have signed this and they don't know what they've just signed, and that he's basically boycotting the game and refusing to play because of the terms of the contract. So Siegel didn't stop there. He was so mad that he made an X post, extremely disappointed in Marvel Rivals. Multiple creators asked for key codes to gain access to the playtest and are asked to sign a contract. The contract signs away your right to negatively review the game. Many streamers have signed without reading just to play. Insanity. And then he links an image of the contract terms below this post. So we're going to talk about the contract terms in a second, but first, check out these comments. That's very strict, WTF. Good thing you didn't post the rest of the contract. This is the nice part. Not allowed to provide subjective negative reviews, so objective negative reviews are okay. That's going to be a fun one for the lawyers. I was being objective. It might just be for the playtest. I would read all the terms and not just this section. The relevance of these comments is just that I wanted to see if there were other people that thought similarly to how I did about this, or just the general fact that there might be other people that would have differing perspectives on the situation. It's like, you can't just come up to me, show me something and say, hey, this is happening, it's wrong, I don't like it, and you should feel the same way too. No. It's like, I want to have all of the information. I want to have a greater perspective. And I kind of got the feeling that a lot of people looked at that and did side with Siegel immediately. But then other people were thinking, hey, you know what? I think there's more to this. Can we see more of the contract? Can we see what else is going on here? But let's just go over what the contract actually stipulates. So this is the non-disparagement clause that is just a portion of the entire contract, right? So non-disparagement. The content creator agrees not to make any public statements or engage in discussions that are detrimental to the reputation of the game. This includes, but is not limited to, making disparaging or satirical comments about any game-related material, such as game features, characters, or music, engaging in malicious comparisons with competitors, or belittling the gameplay or differences of Marvel Rivals, or providing subjective negative reviews of the game. So the best way to describe what a non-disparagement clause is first of all, I want to say that it's not as bad as it looks. You know, it might seem as if it's essentially putting a muzzle on an individual that signs it, meaning that they're not allowed to talk negatively about whatever the contract is in relation to. But essentially, when you think about divorces, when you think about an employee that receives a settlement to leave a company, essentially, when they sign these contracts that include non-disparagement clauses, it's to ensure that either party doesn't say anything negative or disparaging about the other party once the negotiations have been complete, or whatever dealings they had have been complete. So in regards to this specific situation, in which this is an alpha playtest for a brand new game that's in the early stages, it's incredibly vulnerable, it's essentially a situation to where Marvel Rivals and NetEase, the developer, they don't want creators, live streamers, whatever, to say anything negative about the game. They only want people to play test the game, period. That's it. Nothing else. No opinions, no comments, just play the game, stream it, make a video, whatever, and that's it. This is a play it, don't say it type of situation. And I think that a lot of you are probably a lot more familiar with agreements like this than you know. So if you're going through a divorce with your husband or your wife, your partner, and essentially the marriage didn't go very well, and now it's come to an end, and you want to go your separate ways. And so your lawyers work on your behalf to create a settlement, an agreement between the two of you to be able to negotiate the terms of your split. And there's a lot of ugly things that happened within the course of your relationship that you don't want getting out there. Ultimately, when it comes to these negotiations, you know, neither side is essentially happy. Neither side is going to walk away completely content with the situation, but the idea is that you come to a compromise, right? And as part of that compromise, you remain civil, and that even though bad things happened, you don't talk about those things after the settlement of the divorce agreement that you both signed. So within the situation of this game, you know, they have a brand new game. NetEase is a massive Chinese game developer, and obviously, you know, things work a little bit differently in China. It's a situation to where generally people are a bit more compliant when it comes to rules and regulations of doing things, as to where in the Western world, we're less restricted when it comes to our ability to express ourselves, especially to express our opinions on things. And so I can understand why people might have a serious issue with not being able to criticize this game. But it's a situation to where they're giving you the opportunity to play this game, and that's all they want to happen. They want people to see this game. They want people to know about the concept. They want people to be aware of the fact that this is going to be a huge deal, and this could be a huge deal, but they don't want to expose the game to anything that could potentially jeopardize its future. Because if you think about the amount of money, the amount of time that's gone into developing this game, I feel like the whole purpose of this contract and the whole purpose of these terms, these stipulations, is to protect the integrity of the game. And I'm sure that at some point in the future, when the game is a little bit more developed and it's at a much more advanced stage, you will have the open opportunity to be able to speak your mind about the things that you like about the game and the things that you don't like about the game. I mean, pretty much a whole part of a game being released to the public is the fact that they should be able to then provide a review for the game on the platforms of which the game is provided. I mean, there's no contract stipulation that's going to stop you from giving a game a negative review once it's been fully released. But at this point of the game, at this stage of the game, they don't want people talking negatively about it. And similarly to a divorce agreement, right? It's where you kind of get something and they kind of get something out of it. And in that sense, it's somewhat of a compromise. As a creator with a following, and you get to be able to play this brand new game that's in the alpha stages that could be massive, and your viewers get to watch you play this game, and you have that opportunity, that advantage over the average gamer. And so that is the benefit that you're gaining from this situation. And as the game developer, they have all the power and they're granting you this opportunity, but their stipulation is, hey, don't say anything bad about the game, and that's what the agreement is going to be. And whether that's fair or it's not fair is entirely subjective, to be honest. I mean, when you think about it, a lot of creators get invited to or get the opportunity to travel to headquarters of major game developers like Blizzard or Riot, for example, to test new games that are in very early alpha stages. And the agreement with that is that, hey, you get to come and test the game at our headquarters, and we're going to put you up in a nice hotel. We're going to pay for your food and your travel. We're going to make you feel like celebrities, but you don't say anything about the game at all. You don't even mention the fact that you came to test out the game. And that's the agreement. And many creators will agree to that to be able to have that early access opportunity. So this is somewhat of an extension of that. And I think ultimately, if you're happy with it or if you're not happy with it, like Seagull, you have the opportunity to just refuse to play the game. You have the ability to refuse to sign the agreement. And that is what he did. So following all the controversy that followed the revelation of these contract stipulations that a lot of people weren't happy with, Marvel Rivals did make an X post where they somewhat apologized for what people were offended with. Let's check out what they said. Dear Marvel Rivals players, today is the third day of the closed alpha test, and we are truly grateful for all the love and support from the community. We would like to take this opportunity to address the concerns we've seen regarding the agreement terms of content creator programs, and above all, we would like to apologize for any unpleasant experiences or doubts caused by the miscommunications of these terms. The content creator program is a small-scale project that aims to aid in the production of incredible content by supporting creators through giving them more resources. We actively encourage creators to share their honest thoughts, suggestions, and criticisms as they play. All feedback, positive and negative, ultimately helps us craft the best experience for ourselves and the players. We sincerely apologize for the confusion, suspicion, and frustration caused by these excessively restrictive terms, and thank you for sharing with us. We cherish and appreciate every suggestion given by our players and always respect your feedback. We are currently working with creators who have expressed these concerns and are revising the current vision to be less restrictive and more content creator friendly. Thank you for bearing with us while we make these adjustments. We hope you are enjoying the game so far, and we are always open to hearing your sincere thoughts and ideas on how we can improve the game. Marvel Rivals team. And I think one last point that I want to make on this as well is that I doubt that they were going to actually prosecute anybody for speaking negatively about the game. But I think ultimately the idea behind this was just to ensure that when people did critique the game, when people did provide feedback about the game, they did it in a constructive manner. Because I'm sure that, as a lot of you know, people don't necessarily always, with the best, most genuine intentions, provide feedback for certain games or certain aspects of games that they're not entirely happy with themselves, and that has the ability to negatively impact a game's reputation. So I feel like ultimately people can critique the game and they can comment on the game as they're playing it, but it's just a matter of they wanted this to be as constructive and as rational a process as possible. And I think that they went a little bit overboard when they put that in the contract. But hey, you know, this is just how it is. It's a overprotective mother company with their game product baby. You know, I never thought that I would ever find myself even partially representing the interests of a game developer. I mean, I literally sat by for years and watched Blizzard destroy some of my favorite games. And they just, you know, I never thought that I'd be in this type of situation. But one thing I will say is that this is a good game. This looks like it's going to be a good game. I feel like there's going to be a struggle that's going to continue. It's such an amazing concept. Like, I never thought that I'd be able to play Iron Man in a video game, in a PvP shooter video game against other people, and I love the idea of that. But I feel like this is going to be a significant struggle between the developer and the gamers. I can see that happening. But I will say that generally speaking, nowadays, the relations between game developers and gamers has definitely improved. It's made a lot of progress from the days to where I'd be playing World of Warcraft and they would patch something in, or they would make a new change specifically in PvP that would allow one class to dominate for months and months and months, and you'd make a complaint about it and they wouldn't do anything. Or think about Roadhog in Overwatch. And we could go on and on and on. I'm not trying to ramble here, but all I'm just saying is that this is an opportunity for progress, because the way that things are transpiring now is that, you know, people complain, social media amplifies these things, Reddit, for example, and game developers have a much greater ability to get a feel for how the players of their games are reacting to their decisions, and they have the ability to respond in a much faster, much more intricate manner. So I appreciate any game developer that has the ability to apologize and explain themselves and recognize complaints from their community and to address them. And so this is definitely a great step in a better direction. So I'm looking forward to playing this game. I think it could be well. If it does get a nomination for Game of the Year, you heard it here first, okay? And that's the bigger picture.